Welcome to Sports Psych. This is episode 6. I'm excited because I have my homeboy, Joseph Crusha Johnson, on this episode. This is someone who I think has a great story when it comes to sports. When I work with student athletes about the opportunities being able to play in college can provide an individual, I often share parts of his story, the ways that he's talked to me about how sports have helped him in life. So, again, I'm just super excited to have him here. So Joe, can you tell a little bit about just yourself, where you're from, where you grew up?
So from St. Louis, I grew up in North City, St. Louis.
Mhm.
Um, so I went to public high school, St. Louis City High School, went to Soldan. Um, that's a little bit about me.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay. So those of you who don't know, growing up, St. Louis had a desegregation program.
yeah.
So if you were, well, I guess you could probably explain it better than I can how it worked.
So DSEG program was basically they had a program where they bused kids from the city to what we call in St. Louis county schools or like suburban schools. It got a chance to just to get out the city, you know. So yeah.
Because there was like a lawsuit due to like segregation and kind of classism, mostly segregation though, economically. So people had a choice of like you could go to certain county schools based on where you live, or you could go to any city public school, like no matter where you live.
Yeah.
And so, can you say a little bit about what was like your decision and your family's decision to keep you in the city?
Honestly, really, it was my decision,
Hmm.
right? I had this like pride to, stay in the city,
Hmm.
not to abandon, in the city, my city roots and stuff like that. So yeah, I decided to kind of stay in the city, but it wasn't nothing wrong with going to the county,
Hmm.
like my cousin, she went to the county, our boy Mike, he went to county, Jermaine, so like, I think it gave opportunity for me. I think I just wanted to kind of stay closer and
Hmm.
just be in the city. Yeah.
Okay. And then from what you told me, a lot of people will do it because like other than the county schools have more resources, some
Hmm.
parents think it was like they want their kids to be exposed to just other people. And so, especially a lot of black families is like they want their kids to know how to operate around like other people and whatnot.
Hmm.
Just to, you got to navigate parts of life.
Yeah.
I know you told me that Soldan was pretty diverse as is, so that was
Oh
the reason
yeah.
you didn't have to do that. I know you remember you told me had a big Serbian population. Whenever I meet
Hmm.
people from Serbia that have
Yeah.
immigrated to the United States or came for like asylum and stuff,
Hmm.
a lot of people are like, "Oh, you from St. Louis? Oh, I got family there, this and
Yeah.
that," and then they know about Soldan
Yeah.
too. So,
Yep.
can you
Yep.
say a little bit about the diversity there?
Yeah. So it was a lot of diversity. So it was a big Bosnian population.
Mm. Yeah,
And
Serbia and
so
Bosnia,
then
but a lot of
yeah,
Bosnians on
a lot of
that
Bosnia.
same one. Yeah.
But mostly African Americans. So I would say, I don't know where it is now, but back then I would probably say it was probably maybe 65% African American, maybe like 30% Bosnian,
Hmm.
and then you had kids from like Ethiopia, from India, stuff
Hmm.
like that, from China. So yeah, it was a really diverse school. It was international studies high school, so I think it still is. But
Hmm.
so yeah, we did a lot of culture stuff. I had to take French. I had to take a foreign language 4 years. Most schools is 2 years.
Hmm.
I had to take it 4 years. But we did a lot of cultural things like
Hmm.
celebrated culture and stuff
Okay, so
like
you got a little parlez-vous français?
that. 2 years of French, 2 years of Spanish.
Okay, okay, yeah. I took 4 years of French, and that's pretty much all I got right
That's all
there,
you
other than
got.
a French name.
Yeah. Yep.
So, okay. So can you tell me about your background in sports, like your upbringing in sports and whatnot as a youth?
Yeah, as a youth. So I went to well, first of all, growing up as a kid, I always went to like summer camps and stuff
Mhm.
like that. So I went to, we had what we call NYSP. It was like a National Youth Sports Association program or sports program, something like that. And so I went to like just growing up, going to camps, um, doing like sports, like playing softball, volleyball, things like
Mhm.
that. And then I got a chance to go to my middle school was an international studies, or no, was a my middle school was an academic athletic academy.
Mhm.
And so what we did was, first of all, we had weightlifting and PE every day, and also too we did 2 hours activities after school Monday through Thursday. So we would go swimming, we would go ice skating, roller skating, volleyball, racquetball, tennis, stuff like that. It was pretty cool.
I'm flabbergasted because I did not know this, and it explains a lot of things are clicking. So we got a joke that like we call Joe Sweet Feet. we like Joe is he looks athletic, but he's also sneakily athletic with things like he ain't gonna be doing that. My homeboy Mike, who was on the podcast a couple episodes ago, was like, "Man, hey, Joe ice skating." He's like, I get so mad. He's like, I think I'm gonna crush Joe. He over here doing triple backspin, triple axles and whatnot, rollerblading and stuff. So a lot of things are clicking in my mind. So, because I didn't know they had a school like this, but I can see like all the benefits of it for a lot of people.
Yeah.
Flying here.
Yeah, I don't know where it came from.
But I think, there's definitely like a lot of benefits for folks. But yeah, so a lot of things, because we always have these athlete, as we call it, competitions. We'll turn anything to a competition, but a lot of things are clicking now. So can you say a little bit about just your experience when you were young in terms of like organized sports? Did you do anything outside of the camps and like the school?
So not really. So I always was too heavy to play football. So they have unlimited now, but like back then they did. I think the highest weight was like maybe 150 or so, and that was like I think 14, like kind of 14, 15. But they wanted me to lose 50 pounds or 25, 50 pounds to play with as a 12-year-old to play with the 14, 15-year-olds.
Okay.
And my dad was like, "No, we're not doing
that." I think, I was like, that seems like excessive for a kid.
Right.
Okay. And then what about like, especially growing up in the city, the backyard games, the street games, playing in the street. What was your experience with unorganized sports and whatnot?
Unorganized sports, I feel like honestly probably taught me more athleticism for me, right, individually, because I was a bigger kid. So I had to keep up with, kids that were smaller, faster. I wasn't gonna get left behind. So I guess I would say that contributes to my speed, kind of growing up and stuff like that. But like, we played football on the street, cars were the sidelines, and it was light pole to light pole, right? And so you have to take a pause anytime a car drives down the street, stuff like that.
Or you about that life.
Right.
You got to learn how to cut.
Yeah. And also too, we play try to play like baseball in the parking lot. You know what I'm saying? Like we'll make our own bases, stuff like that. That's all I really had. But we had basketball courts everywhere. But as a bigger kid, I really wasn't feeling basketball like that, man. Just all the jumping on my knees, and I was heavy. So
they always want you to play down in the post.
Oh, well, in the post, man.
Let's stop the threes on
right.
You. Early Steph Curry, whatnot.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I was always a kid. Just all my friends, we had bikes, right? So like we raced on our bikes. Riding down steps and stuff like that, So we doing a lot of crazy stuff.
Okay, so you were BMX before BMX was real popular
on a mountain bike.
Okay.
On a mountain bike.
Okay, and then what about going into high school? Was your sport experience there?
It was good, man. Like I had a really good coach in high school. He was really big on discipline, right? Like not just.
Can you say what sports you played in high school?
Oh yeah, so I played football and I shot put discus. I'm gonna say I ran track. I participated in track and field.
Okay, you were a field athlete.
I didn't run a lot, so, so yeah. But yeah, I had it because honestly, my track coach was my football coach, so they kind of just ran hand in hand. But I had good experiences. Yeah, it was cool.
And so you threw for field and track and field.
Yeah.
And then what position did you play in football?
So in football, I played offensive tackle and defensive nose guard. So I played both sides all 4 years. So yeah, it was different, because I had the offensive knowledge, but also had the defensive side knowledge,
Okay. And were you varsity all 4 years of high school, or did you start freshman?
So it's funny. So basically the story is I was a freshman going in. The varsity coach was kind of keeping his eye on me, looking, and so I started the I started the last 2 games of my freshman year um, on varsity.
Mhm.
So yeah, we ran 10-game season. So yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
Okay.
like districts. They put me. They started me in districts.
Mhm.
So, yeah.
Okay. What was it like for you as a freshman getting brought up and then starting those? Not you on the you do a special teams or anything, but to be starting is
Yeah,
like play maybe. Did you have a freshman team or just a JV?
we had just a JV and varsity.
Okay, so you
Yeah,
did JV and it's like, hey, we gonna bring you up to. It's like, watch out, we
yeah,
gonna bring you to start the last 2 games. We gonna do better
yeah,
with the freshmen.
yeah.
What was that like for you?
It was cool because like it's funny. My 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 JV coach ended up being the varsity coach by the time I became a senior, right? So like, um, you know, it was cool because my dad was around. He got a chance to see it. You know what I'm saying? Like, be like, oh, I got a son. You know what I'm saying? Starting as a freshman. And what's crazy is a crazy story. So my cousin was the starting guard when I got there,
Mm-hmm.
and like I ended up starting. I ended up taking this position. It was kind of awkward, but like he was cool about it back
Mm-hmm.
then, and we still kind of rotated in and out.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? But like, yeah, it was awkward for me because I felt bad.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And so like I was like, oh man, I'm gonna take my cousin's spot. But coach was like, we want you to play, we want you to start in his position. I was like, all right. So,
Hey, at least you kept it in the family,
right.
Okay, and so, and I know during high school you also did like a lot of summer football camps in the area, correct?
Yeah, I did a lot of camps. So I did like the Rams camp. I did that. That was like a free camp. I did the WashU camp, Washington University camp, football camp. Um, and that was cool because I got a chance to see almost kind of like what different levels of football look like.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like what it was like to be in a college program. You know what I'm saying? What the pros had and what they was able to see. Because doing a pro camp, you kind of can see the back. Versus going to a game and watching a game or something like that on TV, you can kind of see
Mm-hmm.
how it is behind the scenes. Like the players will come up there and stuff like that and kind of train too. It's pretty cool.
Okay, and the difference in instruction.
Yeah, instruction, just and also too, just like resources, assets, right?
Yeah,
And so
yeah.
that's a big thing too, right?
Mm-hmm.
Having
Yeah,
things.
because I know when I coached, I was like a volunteer coach at WashU,
Mm-hmm.
and the coach remembered you, Coach Ken
Yeah,
Bob. He was there. So Wash University in St. Louis is a Division III program. They had the same head coach for over 25
yeah,
years. And I
yeah.
was talking, I was like, yeah, something my homeboy said he used to do the camps. Like, what's the name? I was like, Joseph Johnson. He was like, did, was he a D lineman, O lineman? I was like, yeah. He's like, did he go to school in the city? I was like, yeah. He's like, so dad. I'm like, yeah. He's like, oh yeah, that guy's an athlete, man. Where I was like, you went to college. He was so excited to hear that you
For
got
real.
to go to college and play. He was like, he's like, oh man. He's like, yeah, he was something. He was something. He's like, if it wasn't for WashU as academically rigorous as they are, because they got players who it was like they had to turn down people who get into Harvard for
Yeah,
undergrad. Like that's how competitive it is. And he's like, man, he's like, oh, he's like, that guy's an athlete. Like, he's like, I'm glad he had opportunity, man. He's like, all right. I was like, yeah, he got his degree and everything. He's like, all right. He's like, I
that's
wanted that
good.
kid to come here so bad, but it's
Yeah,
WashU, man.
yeah.
He's like,
Watch you.
we got work what we can get with our academics. So
That's crazy.
and
Okay.
so you went to school in the city. Now here's a interesting part of the story, I think, or at least one of the interesting
Uh-huh.
things. Can you talk about your recruiting process in high school and then for college and like ultimately like just what happened with that process when you initially transitioned from high school to
Yeah.
college?
So like, you know, going to a St. Louis public school, and I think a lot has changed now, right?
Mm-hmm.
But there wasn't really any opportunity to learn about, next level stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like going to college, what that looks like, and things like that. And also too, like on an athletic point of knowing something simple like what a red shirt is,
Mm-hmm.
right? So I didn't really know what that was, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, but I was recruited by a couple different like what back then D1 AA schools. It was like Blackburn University in Illinois. It was another school. It was a long time. It was another school down in like North Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
You mentioned Tennessee State University. You
Tennessee,
said they wanted
Tennessee
you. You
State.
said they wanted you real bad.
Yeah, Tennessee State wanted me. So it was a couple schools. You know, it wasn't like any like big D1 schools because you know I went to a small high school and small program. But like I turned that down because all I heard was like you go sit out, right? Your first year. So I'm thinking like I'm gonna sit out, like I'm not go, you know, be able to work out with the team and stuff like that. And so, yeah, so I kind of was like wanting to play, you know, so I wanted to practice. Even if I didn't start, I wanted to practice at least. That was kind of where I was, right? But then I got got opportunity. My friend, he actually was going to a school called Coffeyville, and I was like, "What kind of school? What kind of school is that?" He was like, "It's a community college, but they have a football program." So I didn't know a lot about it, you know what I'm saying? Like I didn't know a lot about Coffeyville back then. And so actually I called the coach and was like, "Hey, you know, I sent him a tape that I had from high school. It was like an old VHS tape." So I don't even know if they watched it, but like I told them I was interested in going down there, right? Because I had a friend going down there. I was like, "Oh, I want to go. I want to play football." And so they kind of explained it different to me, right? They call it black shirt because the colors are red, so they call it being black shirt. And so they kind of explained it to me. They was like, "Yeah, you still work out with the team, you know, and so you know you'll still like be a part of the team. You still work out, you know." And so basically, what happened was like, you know, I didn't know, you know, nobody explained it to me as far as going to, you know, going to college and being redshirted, not saying, "Hey, you're not a part of the team, but you still practice and play." You know, I didn't get that education. I didn't learn that. You know, we had internet back then, but it's not the same as what it is now. You know, so
right, you know,
right,
like, "Hey, I need to use the phone. Go on the internet."
right.
You didn't have 2 lines back then,
Right.
so
Yeah. So you know, but I had a great time in Coffeyville, man. It was a fun school. I learned a lot. I learned what next level football kind of can look like. You know, it was a good program. It's still a good program.
Okay. Can you explain the next level football, especially with Coffeyville, before I say anything about it? Because, you know, to add to your points that I'm sure you're going to cover.
Yeah.
But, like, what do you mean by next level with Coffeyville?
So, you know, going to St. Louis Public School, you know, I really, you know, we had a weight room, but it wasn't like a, you know, we didn't have anything designated, you know, and so I know the resources have gotten better, but like, you know, we really didn't lift weights, right? You know, we didn't have squat racks and all that stuff. We had a weight room with like just machine weights, you know, so it was like a community kind of weight room. But like, you know, I got a chance to see what a football program was like, you know, like it was organized. They had like their own facilities, you know, where I could see how, you know, you can train. And you know, I went there and I had dudes coming from, you know, top programs in the state, you know, already signed with D1 schools. And so it was cool to see, you know, it was like, I was like, oh, I can play with these cats. Like, you know, it was like, you know, I wasn't the best by any means, but I wasn't the worst. Right. And so like, you know, I saw kids come from schools like Texas that won state championships and stuff like that. From where I came from, the type of program I came from, you know, to that, like, it was kind of eye opening for real.
Yeah. Now, this is the part that I'm going to add in because he's being a little modest. Everybody I know that went to Coffeyville and stayed at Coffeyville for 2 years went to the NFL. I'm not kidding about that. Tia Allison went to Coffeyville, I believe.
Yeah.
I think Damian Nash, didn't he go to Coffeyville?
Damian Nash was there when I was there.
Brandon Jacobs.
Brandon Jacobs was there.
He was running back New York Giants, went to Auburn.
Yeah.
But was the Giants for a while.
Jonathan Joseph was there. I forgot. I think he went to South Carolina, but he ended up with the Texans for a while. Who else was it? Paul Soliard, Daryl Shropshire. I think it was like probably like 7, 8, 9 people from just when I was there. They went to the league, and you know it was cool to see. You know what I'm saying? It was pretty cool.
Yeah, because like when I moved to California, we be walking and we go out to San Francisco, walk around Oakland, and he randomly know people. Hey man, they would know him from Coffeyville.
Yeah.
Or they'd be like, well, y'all look like football players. Start rapping. You know my homeboy. So next thing we know, hey, we gotta go to the spot. People buying us free drinks, just like security buying us free drinks. Cause what was that spot we went to? But it was somebody that you play with. I think they're a Pacific Islander
Yeah, it
at
was his name was
Coffeyville.
Paul Solia. He's a cool guy,
Okay,
man. He's a
yeah.
cool dude.
Mm-hmm.
He he went to Coffeyville, and it was the bouncer,
Mm-hmm.
and we just talking about football or something like that. I told him what school I went to, and he told me where it was from,
Mm-hmm.
and I was like, oh, Paul Solia. He was like, oh yeah, the football player, and so like he was like, I was like, oh, I went to Coffeyville with him, you know what I'm saying? And so then he's like, let us in the club for free or
Yeah,
whatever. So
boss shot and everything because that was his homie.
yeah,
On
I'm backing up when he was on the island. Yeah,
yeah, and so it's just like
he was
funny
hard.
to see like how football can be so connected within a community and just connect with other communities.
Yeah, for sure.
And so it was always just interested to see that. And I'd be like, because Joe talks super quiet. I'm like, Joe, speak up, dog. I can't hear. So I'm like, there's this whole conversation. I'm like, I don't know what's happening, but all right, I'm just going along for the ride.
Yeah.
And then he explained it. He's, oh yeah, man, Coffeyville. Now I was like, okay. I think also with that, you got to tell. This is one of the funniest stories. Two of the funniest stories, but you got to tell the Brandon Jacobs story.
All right. So okay, yeah. So it was my first, yeah, I was first. It was my first year, and was playing nose guard, and so they put me in with the ones at Coffeyville, and so we was going against the number one offense. So Brandon was the running back, right? So I'm 6'2", what, about 285, close to 290. I'm running like a what, maybe 4'8", 4'9", 4'8" on a good day, 4'9", you know what I'm saying, 5 flat, 40. And it was just not super fast, but like, and you got Brandon, he was 6'5", 260 in the backfield, running a 4'6", 4'5", something like that. And so I put a move on the tack on the nose on the center, and dude, man, like he was just getting the ball, like he
Mhm,
wasn't even at a full head speed
mhm,
yet. So I get past the center, and he just got the ball, and like we connected. So like it was basically like his helmet on my shoulder pad, my helmet on his shoulder pad, and so it was just like I felt it, like
mhm,
it was like a jolt, like
mhm,
it was like you just run into a wall, right?
mhm,
And so we we end up falling. So I don't know if we fell left or right, but I know I tackled him, but when I got up though, like my helmet was like pulled down, like it was like over my face like this. And like, man, I'm trying to figure out where I was at. And so I'm like, my eye was like, the helmet like hitting the top of my eye, man. It was crazy, man. It was, yeah. That I was like, where am I at for a hot second?
right,
I
right.
was,
You like, I remember we talked about.
I
You're
was just
like,
happy I took him down.
right. You're like, look, I ain't never really been trucked a whole lot in my career, but yeah. He got me. I can say he got me with that one. I take that one.
I
It was
tackled him.
close. It was
I
close.
tackled
Made the
him,
tackle
but
though.
I lost the battle.
Right. And so I was like, yeah. I was like, but basically that's almost tackling just a slightly small version of yourself, but
Yeah,
taller. So
but
it's like, okay,
taller and
this is
faster.
what other people deal with,
Right,
like
right.
when I play. So
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
And so can you tell a little bit about just like what transpired with the project? Because I think what a lot of people don't understand is when you go, to community college
Yeah.
or NAI to like, and then try to go like NCAA or anything like that, there can be not necessarily, sometimes there can be politics. There can also be just a lot of hoopla with some of the rules
Hmm.
that really negatively impact uh, a lot of great athletes' opportunities just
Yeah.
simply because of like these weird rules that they have, which, now they're kind of starting to address with the NCAA at least.
Hmm.
But can you say a little bit about just what happened at Coffeyville and then ultimately where you ended up going from there?
Yeah. So, um, what happened in Coffeyville? So I learned that you can only have it was 11 back. I don't know if it's changed now, but it was 11 or 12 out of state people on a roster, right?
Mhm,
So, you have a 52-man roster. Only 11 of those can be their home can be out of state.
mhm,
So like me being from St. Louis. And so, in a situation like that is, like I said, they had all those players that already signed D1.
mhm,
Um, you know, and so, I think, you know, me looking back, um, I felt like I was better than the person that got to stay that was from another state. Um, in the sense of like just pure, he was bigger than me. Same strength, he was taller than me, but like I was quicker, I had better feet, you know what I'm saying? So I can see why they kind of went that route, but at the same time, like I felt like I was more of an athlete than he was, you know what I'm saying? And so, um, but yeah, you know, so yeah, it was a long time ago.
Okay. Okay. And then where did you end up going after that?
So I ended up in MoVal. So
Mhm.
wouldn't change that for the world. I
Mhm.
mean, going to D1 school, oh, that's cool, but like the friends I met in MoVal, I mean, I wouldn't change that for nothing, right? So like, I went to MoVal because one, they offered me more scholarship than anywhere else that was looking at getting me, but also two, closer to home. I wanted to be closer to my family,
Mhm.
like that. Yeah,
Okay. Okay.
MoVal. It was I didn't work as hard as I should have. I feel like at MoVal, like I don't know, it was like I come from Coffeyville, I go to MoVal. Nothing wrong with MoVal at all, but like it was a higher level, right? It
Mhm.
was you go from like a top you know um, junior college in the country,
Mhm.
and then you go to NAIA school. It's kind of like, oh man, like it felt like I almost felt like I was guaranteed a spot, right?
Mhm.
And so I just didn't work as hard as I should have at MoVal. I didn't work hard until like my last year. It was crazy.
Okay.
Like
Okay.
as far as like in the off season and stuff like that. I worked hard during the season, but I mean like in the off season, like I
Okay.
really worked hard.
I'm hearing Mike's story about your try like off the field. It's like it's like you're supposed to football. They're always like run off the field. Like you're supposed to sprint on and
Yeah,
off.
no.
Joe is like it looked like he running. He's like he not running
I
though.
basically was jogging at the same pace as a walk.
And
Yeah.
so Mike would always tell that story about you. So, what was the transition like though? Just from high school to just Coffeyville in general, just both as a student and as an athlete, let alone that transition to Missouri Valley.
It was tough for me in high school
Mhm.
because I went to a city school and it's it it was kind of like a lockdown
Mhm.
mentality, right? So like you can't leave the school, especially when I have my cousin was like, oh yeah, we can like run the Burger King on our lunch and stuff like that, or we can sit outside and eat and stuff like that. So I kind of withdrew from high school because of a sense of like I just felt like not entrapped, but like imprisoned almost. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? In the sense of like can't even walk the halls. I can't do anything, right?
Mhm.
And so like you just go to class, you go to your homeroom, sit there, go straight to class, no hallway. You know what I'm saying? You can't leave the school, I guess.
Mhm.
And so I felt so structured, right? I
Mhm.
didn't really like that. And but like going to college, it was kind of like I could do this on my own time.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? It's crazy. Like it was the opposite for me. Like I needed I needed the freedom.
Mhm.
I can do more with freedom versus I can do with feeling like just locked down.
Mhm.
Right. That was for me.
Mhm.
Um, so the transition it was cool in the sense of like it was more diversity. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm big on diversity. I like being around different people. I think Soden helped me with that because I had friends from different nationalities, and so going to college, like I didn't get that in my neighborhood at all, but I got it at school. My in high school I got it. I didn't get it in my neighborhood, but like going off to college, I was able to get more diversity, and especially like at Coffeyville too. Um, for an athlete transitioning, you got to be open minded,
Mhm.
right? So like you have to say, I think younger seeing different levels at a young age, I was able to go to college and say, okay, I learned a lot in high school, but like I need to learn more stuff now. Like this is something that these coaches are here for a reason, so I need to adapt to their system and be
Mhm.
able to adapt to what they're teaching me
Mhm.
because obviously they teaching me new things that I didn't learn in high school. So I need to take those things. And so that made it easier for me to learn and to be a sponge. Like I learned from doing anyway. Like being somebody who had an IEP in high school,
Mhm.
with reading comprehensions. Like if you give me something to read and to learn it, it's gonna be difficult for me.
Mhm.
But if you just show me how to do it, I can do it
Mhm.
repeatedly. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? And so um, I think that's what made it easy for me to just absorb what they were teaching me as far as techniques, stuff like that.
Okay. Okay. And then what about, as a student, not so much academically, what was that just transition like to come with like your peers, and being
Um,
away from home and whatnot at Coffeyville and at Missouri Valley?
Being away from home at Coffeyville was tough because I didn't I clicked with people.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? I made good friends and stuff like that. But I made closer friends at MoVal. So like it was easier to be at MoVal. I kind of got homesick at Coffeyville a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I was kind of hesitant to like go to another school, but I knew I was gonna do it because I wanted to play football. But I was still kind of had that second guess. It's like it's gonna be the same as Coffeyville, right? So yeah, but academically, it helped me because I, in a sense of like, I learned how to take good notes,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so I wanted to play football, so I knew it was like, okay, I need to get good grades to play football, right? So I learned how to take good notes. Like I say, reading really wasn't good for me. Not good for me, but it really wasn't one of my strong things, right? So see, I learned how to take good notes, and it's crazy. I graduated college with my degree, never reading a chapter. I just took everything from my notes for tests and stuff like that. I never read a chapter. It's crazy.
Okay. In terms of football at MoVal, what was the experience like there for you? Clearly, you had a lot of success, especially your senior year.
Yeah. So I got what, second team all conference. People argue that I should have got first team because we had a 3-man front. But anyway,
Don't sound like you disagree with them though.
I don't disagree. I don't disagree with that. We had number 1 rush defense in the country, number 3 pass defense in the country, and I think we were ranked number 4, something like that overall. Number 3 defense, but yeah, I don't know. But as far as my experience at MoVal, great experience. I made good friends on the football team, but like I say, I just I didn't work as hard as I should have. Um, so like I could say I had a great time, man. Like it was going in. I was nervous, right? Because it's like, oh, I'm still gonna see, saying some different athletes and stuff like that, or be in different school. But it's such a, like a traditional school, like it's tradition, like from just from like the football, you know, part about it, right? Like the fight song, or you know, just the traditions they do before and after games, during games, stuff like that. You can tell it's been around for a really long time, and so like I appreciated that. Like it took me a while to really kind of to see it, you know what I'm saying? Because just I think I was just so focused on trying to be like a good student athlete. Like I didn't really focus on the tradition. Like I was trying to hang out with friends, do homework and stuff like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then your senior year, can you talk about just that season, the undefeated season?
Undefeated season, yeah. So we went 13. So take regular season undefeated. So we did go 13-1. We lost the game before the game before the national championship. So it was like the final four. But yeah, we won 13 straight. No bye weeks. Um, yeah, it was a ride, man. The focus was just one win at a time, right? Don't think about the previous wins. Don't think about the future, where we're going. Just each week, just focus on winning just that 1 week. I think that was a good formula for our team.
Okay. Okay. And then because you actually had another year eligibility left.
I did.
You
Yeah.
could have, and they went undefeated in the regular season again.
Yeah.
The next year, what made you decide not to use that year? And I gotta ask, had you come back, what do you think would have
Nah.
happened?
If I came back, what I think would have happened? I don't know. I don't know what it would have happened. I can't really. I don't know. I feel like they had a good team, and the person that really took my spot, he
Or
was
that you
good.
left for?
That I
Because
left.
you left,
Yeah.
so it was
Okay.
vacant.
Then you need to take my
You
spot.
gave it
I
to
gave
him.
it to him. He was good. Like he was really good. And so, I mean, it would probably been about the same. I don't know if I would have made a huge, bigger impact. I probably could have if I would have worked out in the off season, gotten stronger and faster. You know what I'm saying? But like, I think for me, the reason I left, man, is I kind of knew I wasn't going to the NFL. You know what I'm saying? It's like, why do I want to play again? Um, you know, wanting to start a career and a life. You know what I'm saying? I was like kind of done with football and playing. I remember looking at one of the sheets. Like I would probably average about 70 plays a game. And sometimes, man, it was hard getting off that bus, man. It's just standing up, from sitting for 8 hours or 9 hours on the bus, 12 hours. Yeah, man, you get stiff. You start your ankles and knees hurting. That's a lot. Nose guard playing 70 plays in a game.
What's the average amount of nose guard plays, would you say?
A lot of teams rotate. I would probably say I would guess average. I don't know for sure. I would guess maybe 50, something like that, in a game.
Because I think you told me like there was a couple times you had about 100 snaps.
Yeah, I got into the 90s like once or twice, I think. But yeah, but that was those teams, man. Like a Benedict team, all they did was run. All they did was run the ball. Oh, that was.
But now, can you talk about that piece? Because I think that when people think of college sports, it's private jets and this and that, or chartered planes and all that stuff and whatnot. Maybe if you're Division One,
Right.
certain like you Power Five definitely for football. You go to Division One AA, and depends, maybe certain games, but then you go D2, maybe certain games here and there, but not really all the time, or maybe even a whole season. Then you go Division Three NAIA. It's like, you ain't you got your school got a bus, or maybe they got the budget for it, chartered bus to take you. But what was in the regular season the furthest road trip you took that you have to take as part of your games, and just what was that experience like of getting on this bus, getting off this bus, and whatnot?
The longest was probably, I think, Tennessee, Lambeth, Tennessee. That was so it was down like it's Jackson, Tennessee. So it was probably like a 9-hour drive, 9 to 10, something like that. It man, first of all, it's they charter buses, so it's not like a school bus. You know what I'm saying? So a hire company. Um, whole team get one bus. So bags underneath, but it's tough, man. Like it's you talk about like just going. You get stiff going down there. Luckily you can stay the night over. You know what I'm saying, and warm up the next morning, stuff like that. But like sometimes, man, we would drive 6 hours that day. You know what I'm saying, to play, and then you on the bus for 6 hours, and you got to get off. You know what I'm saying, go straight to getting dressed and warm up. Like it's tough. But like driving back was the worst though, man. That drive back, because you don't stay the night after you play. Like you go, you shower, change, you hop on that bus, and you sit for 8 hours, 10 hours. Like that's tough, dude. Sometimes I might have to be helped up off the bus, like especially playing like a long game, especially like a running team or something like that. Man, I bet to like help me stand up. Like and I was only 21, so yeah, man.
Yeah,
It's tough. It's tough.
and don't let nobody want to sit next to you. It's like, man, go
Right.
buy one of them DBs or
Like
something
I
like
said,
that.
well, I think when we went to Lambeth, I think we did get 2 buses. I think we got 2 because that was a long ride. So I'm pretty sure we got 2 buses. But yeah, it's just sometimes like you say, you go that day, that early Saturday morning, you drive 6 hours, and then you go and play, and then you got to drive 6 hours back, all in one day. Like that's tough. Like it's tough on your joints, your knees. So you get stiff. Yeah,
So you wrap up your senior year, you have extra year, you decide not to use it. You talk about like just getting on the bus, just the pains, the off season. I think a lot of people understand how difficult it is to be in shape, especially for football, because it's like you are when you go into camp, by the time you camp, you are at peak condition.
Mm-hmm.
And then as you get deconditioned the season, you got to get back. Like that's hard on the body and just the mind.
Yeah.
So you're like, yeah, I'm kind of think I'm okay on doing that. What was the transition like out of college for you into your career and whatnot? And
So for me, it was pretty easy for me because my degree is in exercise science, and so I kind of went right into personal training and like gyms, and
mm-hmm,
so like I was like right at home, right?
mm-hmm,
So I'm training people, I'm working out. Actually, what's crazy is I probably got in better shape after college because I was like working out every day because I
mm-hmm,
worked in the gym, right? So I
mm-hmm,
was like, oh, I'm gonna get an hour workout in. Still doing plyos and all that kind of crazy stuff, but like um, the transition for me was easy because I still kind of had that part, um, and also too like everybody I was kind of closest with graduated too. You know what I'm saying, on the football team. We all was from St. Louis. You know what I'm saying, so we all came back and was hanging out and stuff like that. And then you was still in Mizzou, so you was home on the weekends,
mm-hmm.
and so yeah, for me it was pretty easy for the transition. So
Mm-hmm.
it wasn't too bad.
What about the identity piece? Or let me even ask this technically first. How much of your identity was you being an athlete, you being a football player?
Oh yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that became my identity. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? Training, right? So like, you still have to, trainers have to look a certain way. Or
Mm-hmm.
not have to, but it was a stigma. It's like, okay, you're a personal trainer and you gonna train me. I expect you to look like you're in shape too, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it kind of transitioned that too, like just having a physique that people wanted to, train from you, or like felt like you was in pretty
Mm-hmm.
decent shape. Still was a big dude, but I was just leaner, I
Mm-hmm.
guess you can say. Um, so as an identity as an athlete, like I think my decision to not go back kind of solidified that for me. The fact that I'm not gonna be an athlete again. I got people offered for me to play on semi-pro teams and like paying to play, and I just didn't. I didn't want to do that. Like I was like, I'm done. I'm hanging them up. Which I know Michael. I know Mike tell the story all the time. Was like we halfway through MoVal, we got a new defensive coordinator, and my defensive coordinator that recruited me before my first 2 years, Coach Haynes. He was more chill. You know what I'm saying? He's laid back. He recruited me, so like, I was like, I ain't gonna say like favored, but like, what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying, like he drove down to pick me up. You know what I'm saying? Because I didn't have a ride to school and stuff like that from the summer. Um, and then Coach Rowe came, and different experience, man.
Mm-hmm.
Like Coach Rowe made us run. Like I wasn't a favorite no more. And like Mike, every time we be walking back from practice, because Mike played offense and I played defense, and we ran way more than offense did,
Mm-hmm.
way more. But I'll tell you in a second. But every day I would be like, I'm hanging them up, Mike. Okay, ain't doing no more, man. I'm hanging them up. Big dudes, man. It's running. A big man making them run would be the first thing that would like kind of break them down because we don't like running, man. We just
Mm-hmm.
all this weight, moving all this weight like that, man. We run short spurts. Having us running long distances, man, it's not. We don't like that.
What was he having you run?
Man, we would just do gassers like the whole field, and like, but he did it because one, I think he came in, he knew we were out of shape,
Mm-hmm.
and to be a great defense, you have to be in good shape because you have to have 11 people out there that is going to get to the ball as fast as they can every time.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so I didn't really realize it until like my last year. Why? You know what I'm saying? The first year Coach Rowe got there, I was like, I don't know if I can do this. I don't know if I can do
Mm-hmm.
it. So, but my body adjusted. You know what I'm saying? Which yeah, I ain't gonna say I knew it would, but I'm happy it did. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
Yeah, okay.
yeah.
Because I know at least when I was there, their conditioning test was the Denver Broncos conditioning
The
test, which is
300.
yeah,
Yeah, I hated that.
300-yard shuttle, right? 25 yards down and back. So you got cones 25 yards apart. You go down and back 6 times, but
Yeah.
you have to do it 3 times in total, and you have a time that you have to make it
Yeah.
in
I hated
for your
it.
position. And I was just like, yeah, I don't know if I'm going to make that.
Yeah. No.
Yeah, and so you had to do that. Did they change it all your
They changed
senior?
it. So okay. So yeah, I hated the 300. So what's cool about it is I only had to do it 2 years because my junior year I broke my hand,
Mm-hmm.
and so I didn't have to go to camp. So I broke my hand over the summer, and so I didn't have to go to camp. So I didn't have to do that test. But my next year came around and they switched it. We did 16 110s, and man, that was easy. Like that for me, because in the summer I worked at Greyhound, and
Mm-hmm.
I unloaded buses
Mm-hmm.
like all summer. So I'm loading up 50-pound suitcases under hot buses, bending over all day, and so like that kind of helped me stay in shape. But like we got back, man, them 16 110s, I killed it. That was nothing. I was like, I can do this all day
Mm-hmm.
because it's just sprints, right? I'm not at a pace. Right, if I can just sprint down, you give me 10 to 15 seconds of a break, I can sprint the other way.
Mm-hmm.
And so the last one, I got to everybody was tired, and I wasn't even tired. And so I was like, man, this is the conditioning test this year? I'm imagine this. And so the last whistle, so they blew the whistle, and I just took off. And then when I got to like the cone, the finish line or whatever, I did a front flip, and the whole team.
I'm just picturing you at 290 doing a flip. Did you land on your feet?
I landed on my feet, but no, I didn't. Did I land on my feet? No, I didn't land on my feet.
Okay.
No, I
Okay.
didn't land on my feet, but I was close. I was close. I felt my feet kind of hit the ground. I was like, oh, shit. But
But still at 290, that's impressive. That's impressive.
and the whole team just went crazy, ran over and stuff like that. So
They're
like
like, we know it's gonna be a good season now.
that's what Mike always say. He was like, they kind of set the tone for the season. It was like it's gonna be a good season.
Mhm.
Because it's like if Joe come back in shape, oh
Okay.
yeah,
And then with that, because you were first generation college student,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
Right. So that's one of the things why I tell your story. Can you say what sports in general, as a whole, especially football, gave you? Like, how did it? What would be different in your life had you not played sports, let alone went to college? Uh, even the role that football played in you being like, yeah, I want to go to college, and just how that impacted your life.
Um, you know, my life could have went if it wasn't for football, my life could have went a couple different ways. So I would have either just went straight to working, right? I would have went straight into like probably a labor job or something like that, and there's nothing wrong with that. You know what I'm saying? Um, but like I would have, or I would have been just went straight to a labor job, kind of like what my dad did, or I would have, I would have just been out here, man. Like
Out in these streets.
I would have been out here in these streets, man. Like I would have, you know, I would have followed probably other people what they was doing. Um, yeah, just not making good decisions. You know what I'm saying? And getting in trouble.
Hmm.
You know. Um, yeah. But I knew me. You know what I'm saying? I know me as an individual. I'm not a bad person. So like, I'm not gonna be out here like robbing, shooting nobody, nothing like that. But I would have figured out how to make money.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, like I don't like, I don't like being broke. Like I would have been out here making money, right?
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying? But I wouldn't have been like, what I'm saying, taking or robbing or like, all that. Like I said, that's not me. That's not me as a person, right?
Hmm.
So, but yeah, I would have been out
Okay. 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 And so with that, what would you say sports, let alone football, gave you?
here. It gave me an opportunity to really get out of St. Louis. I think, right? Like meet other people from different cities. To say like, okay, this is not what my life has to be like, right?
Hmm.
Like this is not. I don't have to, you know, be in this. I don't have to. I don't have to be. what St. Louis tells me I got to be, right? I can go be whatever I want to be, right? I can do what I want to do because it's it's people out here from I met people from so many places, man, like Argentina, of course all over the United States, right? But like Germany and Guam and like Philippines and like I got a chance to like meet a lot of people from different places and see what different cultures was like, right? So it was that to me that's what it gave me. Um, it helped me think differently, right? Like it helped me kind of think about you know every city and place people have mindsets, right? So like people have different temperaments, different in different cities, and different things that kind of will annoy them versus other places. So like I got a chance to see like stuff that I learned about what St. Louis is about, what I have to be about. I don't have to be that. You know what I'm saying? But I love my city. Don't get me wrong. But yeah, it's more to the world in St. Louis. Yeah.
Okay. And so when you think about, you got married not too long ago. When whenever you get ready to start a family, have little youngins, are you going to be putting them into sports and whatnot? Or what type of sports are you going to probably have them be exposed to?
I think that sports for kids, I think people, right? I think to me, playing sports teaches a discipline, um, because it kind of holds you accountable. Team sports teaches you how to work with people and not be selfish. Being a nose guard, you can't be selfish as a nose guard, right? Kind of a nose guard responsibility is to make sure nothing comes up the middle. And if things don't come up the middle, then they have to go outside and have to rely on other people to have the outside. I can't do it all. And so I think sports teaches me how to believe in my teammates, how to be a part of a team, and also too as individual sports have a discipline because you kind of shot putters, you working against yourself, right? You throwing against people, but you trying to beat your own best, right? You know what I'm saying? So,
Okay. And slight segue back. What was the most difficult thing that you dealt with as a student athlete?
the most difficult thing I dealt with as a student athlete, um,
Or let me rephrase it. Maybe not the most difficult thing, or what is the thing that uh, when people think of sports in college, they have this certain perception. What is the thing that you think is often not highlighted, but when it comes to college sports, what is the thing that you think there's a misnomer about that people have this like perception of that is completely inaccurate? Um, uh, uh, especially with college football, that's like, no, this is the reality of things. They all glamour, like
mhm.
like what you might think we watch, like the program, something like that.
Yeah.
And then, what was probably the most difficult thing that you dealt with as a college athlete? And what helped you cope with it?
Um, I'm kind of thinking like while you was asking that second part, like the second question, like the hardest thing was probably feeling overwhelmed a couple
Mhm.
times, um, because you juggling so much, right? You juggling, you know, your sports, you juggling your academics, you juggling relationships, what I'm saying? You juggling finances to figure out, like, what, how you going, get a ride home or, what I'm saying? Or like how you gonna get home or like sometimes how you go eat, you know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? Stuff like that. So like, I think just getting overwhelmed with that stuff. A couple times, one time I like walked off the field. Like we was in the middle of practice and we was like just doing like teams, like offense versus defense. Um, and I just felt this huge like weight, you know what I'm saying? Like I got emotional. I just walked off the field and like took a knee in the back of the field. And like it was just I was just dealing with a lot at the time.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? So like that's probably one of my biggest that was like the most difficult times. Just being overwhelmed. And then repeat the other part of it.
What's the thing like that people have like this glamorized perception of when they think of like college sports at any level, that you think is completely inaccurate, and like what's the reality of that thing?
Um, I think it's, you see, especially like, football and a lot of, you know, they see athletes as, athletes, we come off as really confident,
Mm-hmm.
right? You have to have a confidence when you walk out there to say, I'm going to go compete against somebody else. I'm going to be better than them. And so, of course, we have a confidence, but like we still can be fragile.
Mm-hmm.
Like we still fragile people. Like we still people.
Mm-hmm.
We still have emotions. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? And so I think that's probably one of the bigger misconceptions. I think it's getting better.
Mm-hmm.
When mental health is more apparent now.
Mm-hmm.
People are talking more about it. Um, I think that's probably one of the things that I would say, like just student athletes, like we we got this confidence, but we still people. We
Mm-hmm.
still got emotions, and
Mm-hmm.
we can still go through things.
Mm-hmm. And then I do want to ask, I think it ties into a couple of different things. Being a first generation college student, how did playing football, playing the sport just in general, help you with that transition and ultimately being successful academically to get your degree?
How did football help with that?
Yeah, being like just, being a student athlete, the athletic part of it and all the things that come along with that. Did that help you in any ways with, with the academic side and just that transition of being a first generation college student, let alone with, doing what you got to do to make sure you can play all the stuff you have to get your
hmm
degree?
Um, it football held me accountable,
Hmm.
right? So like, you know, it helped me be able to pay for it. You know, I didn't, I wouldn't have had like anybody to pay for my college. You know what I'm saying? Anything
Hmm.
like that. Helped pay for it. Helped me get the degree. As far as the first generation, like it was cool because I met other people. You know what I'm saying? That was like first generation, or that came from the same environment as me.
Hmm.
You know, like it was like it was being around people like me
Hmm.
makes it easier,
Hmm.
right? Yeah.
Okay. And I guess what about anything with like, you got your teammates, you got coaches, you got academic stuff, where you study hall, just those things.
hmm
Were those aspects, did those aspects help you as well in terms of like, just the transition and dealing with like, all right, like I can't go to the family the same way for help academically
Right.
with this because like they never did this, let alone
Yeah.
be away for school. And
Yeah.
so what about in that regard?
Yeah. It definitely. We had study hall, and you can get a tutor and
Hmm.
all that stuff. So like that definitely helped out a lot. Um, you know, coaches checking in on academics. That's always helpful, and you never want to let your coach down, right? You know, um, we had a great coach at MoVal, and I had a great defensive line coach, and so like they kind of helped hold me accountable for the things I needed to do,
Hmm.
and because deep down I wanted to keep playing.
Hmm.
I didn't want to, you know, was like had a grades not to play. You know what I'm saying? I need to keep a certain GPA to play, right? And
Hmm.
so yeah, so that held me accountable.
Mhm, mhm. Okay, because I know with a lot of first gen students, whether it's student athlete or not, it's like there's the accountability piece and there's the support piece of like,
Mhm.
hey, like I don't know how to do certain things or whatnot. Where it's like, you got study hall, you got tutors and
Mhm.
whatnot, and it's like we gonna have you. I know some people are like, it was like they had to do all these things, and they're like, well, I had all the support at the bare minimum that helped me do these things. Then once I figured it out, it's like I didn't need, like I didn't have to go. I had the GPA. I didn't have to go to study hall anymore
Yeah.
or whatnot.
Yep.
Or it maybe not as much, but it was like had they not had that support initially, they were like it would have been just rougher because it
Mhm.
was like it would have been a lot more figuring it out with fewer people to ask or talk to. But it's
Yeah.
like I could talk to my coaches need to check in general because they're gonna do it with everybody. Or maybe in per specific case, then teammates they can go and ask questions
Yeah.
too about like, hey man, like how with these math problems? I know for me it's like, hey, I don't know how you do this.
Yeah. Yeah. I think for me in that aspect is like I'm very observant,
Mhm,
right? So like I'm the one, I mean, I'm quiet. So like I'm sitting back, I'm observing behaviors, I'm observing other
mhm,
people. And so, I could see, you know what I'm saying, what I need to do.
Mhm.
You know, going to Coffeyville first helped me going to a junior college.
Mhm.
You know, and two, you know, it's different, right? MoVal, you know, it's smaller classrooms,
Mhm.
right? You know what I'm saying? I feel like, I really feel like if I went to a school with, you know, 500 people or 300 people in a classroom, like a big,
Mhm.
yeah, I would have kind of got lost in the system probably.
Mhm.
But I would probably still have coaches holding me accountable, but, you know, I wouldn't have made you know, set an appointment to meet with my professor.
Right.
Like, you know, in MoVal, I can just be like, hey, I need some help.
Right. Well,
You know?
MoVal, they take attendance in your classes. That's how small class sizes are. It's
Yeah,
like
yeah.
you missing. Where are you on
Right,
Monday? He's like,
yeah, right, right,
okay.
right.
You know, they see you on campus, so you try to
Yeah,
hide because it's not that big of a campus. It's like we see you, Joe.
yeah,
Try to hide behind that tree. It's
yeah.
like,
But,
like
you know, knowing me, you know what I'm saying, the way I learned, and I think it was good for me not to go to a D1 school.
mhm.
You know, like I said, I got no regrets as far as the path I took. Um, but, like, I think it was better for me not to go to a D1 school because, like I said, I would have just got lost. Like,
Mhm.
I wouldn't have had as much accountability
Mhm.
to me, you know,
Mhm.
on me.
Yeah.
Or, but yeah. So I would have, yeah. But that's for me. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? That's the way I learn. That's my personality type. I'm very self aware,
Mhm.
and so I was like, yeah, me in a big. I would
Okay.
just sit back in the back and just not really do anything and
Mhm.
not participated. You know. Yeah.
And so I guess I will ask this, even though you did kind of answer it, but if is there anything, if so, what would you change if you could about your athletic experience?
About my athletic
Mhm.
experience, probably worked out harder.
Mhm.
You know, in the off seasons, um, just to say how good God had really been, right?
Mhm.
You know, I'm just so laid back. You know what I'm saying? Like I got the athletic ability, but was I real competitive? Man, I was competitive in the sense of like I wanted my team to win,
Mhm.
but like I wasn't competitive in the sense of like I'm just gonna dominate this person every play, or you go win some, I'm gonna win some. I'm gonna get tired, you gonna get tired.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? So I'm more of like who wins the full battle, not who wins the war, not just each individual battle.
Mhm. Okay.
Sometimes you gotta take a loss to make you do a little bit better. You know what I'm saying?
And then I think I always say his last question, like three more pop in my head, so we'll see if that actually ends up being the case. Um, what do you think is probably the most, like, what for a young person making their decision about going to college, like, to play, especially they're playing a sport, choosing a school, like the experience and whatnot, like what is probably like the most important things that you would tell a person about like the decision making for a school,
Yeah.
um, and that you think that they should know to help them be successful academically, sport wise, and life wise.
Um, you know, picking a school, right? Like to me, picking a school that's gonna give you what you want, right? So kind of give you a story. So I went to Coffeyville with Brandon Jacobs, right? And this man had offers from everywhere,
Mhm.
right? He played running back. He's 6'5", 260-pound running back. Um, the school that signed him, they wanted him to play DN. He didn't want to play DN, which was a bigger school than he ended up going to. So he ended up going to like a D1 AA school
SIU
at
Carbondale,
SIU
as I went
Carbondale.
there for my
Yeah,
master's. Yeah.
but they let him play running back.
Hmm.
So and it worked out for him, right? You know what I'm saying? So like, you know, choose a school or choose a position that you want to play.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like, go to a school that'll let you play that position because football is still a game. You know what I'm saying? It's a profession, right? When you get to certain levels, but it's still, at the end of the day, it's still a game,
Hmm.
right? And so if you're not having fun playing a game, then you're not really, putting your all into it, and
Hmm.
you know what I'm saying? Like, or a position that you don't really want to play.
Hmm.
You're not really putting your all into it. So
Hmm.
that's the advice I would give. And also too, you know, size wise, like understand yourself, understand what you need to make you successful in a classroom. Like if you feel like you would do better with a professor that, you know, you can talk to on a regular, and, you know, if you feel like you can build a relationship with people, you need that relationship with people in order to succeed, you know, then go to a smaller school. Like there's nothing wrong with going to a smaller school. Like you don't have to go to the biggest school in the state, and you still get an education. You know, so that was my advice.
Okay. And then what about with life?
With life, um, be open minded, man. Like, you know, when you get a job or you go places, like have your standards of where, you know, what you want to do and be, but like have an open mind. And, you know, businesses exist for a reason. Like if you had your own business, you run how you want to run it. You know, don't go into another business thinking like, hey, I'm gonna change what they do, and just keep an open mind in that sense. You know, in life, just be kind to people. You know what I'm saying? Like life's too short to be angry and, you know what I'm saying, wanna jump off and cause problems for other people. And life too short for that, man.
Okay.
You know?
Okay. And then any last parting words or anything you want to say just in general?
No, man. I mean, you know, I don't know. You know me, I'm chill. Any last words? Um, nah. I appreciate you doing this. You know, just putting like the mental health part with sports and how it affects life and people and stuff like that. And yeah, just be good to people, man. Just if anybody take anything from this, man, just be open minded. Treat people how you want to be treated. You know what I'm saying? That's kind of how I live my life. Be open minded. Treat people how you want to be treated,
Okay.
and have goals. You know.
Appreciate that, man. And I did, in fact, lie. Last question. What was it like to be inducted into the Hall of Fame with your team?
Yeah.
2000, the 2016 was inducted to the Hall of
Uh
Fame
huh.
a couple years ago. What was that like for you?
That was for me. It solidified how great of a team we were. Right. You know, that's for my school that's been around for, you know, hundreds of years, like I guess since the 1800s or something like that.
Yeah. And
Like,
they're one of the winningest colleges, regardless of size and
yeah,
class, for multiple sports and in the whole in the country.
yeah.
And so,
Just for them to recognize our team, because you know, like you say, they had teams that went 20 years undefeated, right? Like that's crazy. You know what I'm saying? For them to recognize our team as being one of the best teams that come through that school, that was cool. And then also too, just, you know, Mike say it all. I need to say it more, but Mike say it all the time. Man, we some Hall of Famers, man. I mean, no matter what level it is, like we still some Hall of Famers. So like our, you know, as long as that school exists, our names, our team will be around forever. So that's pretty cool.
yeah, you know, get to take kids, like, hey, that's up there in the rafters, you know,
Right.
show them the ring, you
Yeah.
know. And so, but
Yeah.
okay, I think those are things. It's like that's something like you said, you know, that's a legacy. Your kids will be able to put that ring somewhere. Your grandkids, and, you know, they will see this is your great grandpappy's
Yeah.
ring, and then you know, got inducted to the Hall of Fame, and that's gonna be somewhere, man,
Yeah.
for till the long that school's up. They
Could
can
be.
find it in the record books and all that. And like I said, you have a family heirloom with it. And so, you know, I think, like I say, but I'm definitely glad to have you on. Appreciate you doing this. Like I
Man,
said,
I
I know you
appreciate you
a
offering me,
little
man.
bit more introverted, but when Joe and I met, we would just be chilling in the car, talking because we met through my homeboy Mike. But that's what got us clicked. It's like I was like, Mike vouched for you. I was like, Mike got a good judge of character, but we would just be talking for hours, man. We go
Yeah.
out, hit up the clubs back then, hit
Yep.
up Buka, and we just be chilling till 5 in the morning talking about life, man. And I was
Right.
like, Joe, cool, man. Mike be like, man, I feel left out, dog. I was like, hey, you gotta come back. You down there in MoVal getting your masters, but we would just be rapping about life and whatnot. And
Yeah.
I was like, okay, I was like, there was somebody else who would be a psychologist, I think. I was like, Joe, man, cause I was like, Joe got like some of the stuff we see. I'm like, you pick up on. I'm like, you see, you're like, yeah, I see what you
Yeah.
mean. Like,
I be seeing
this
stuff.
other, you know, just like you said, like you have a mindfulness about people
Hmm.
and their experiences that is not coming from a judgmental place, that doesn't mean you can't still say, hey, this is maybe a better way to see, or this is not an okay way to think about people, or whatever. You're a very accepting person, and you have this mindfulness of like, hey, these things I know this person went through, maybe they did go through something that has shaped their experience that they can't see. I have that insight, but like, and with that, it's like, you know, how I engage with them can open up their mindset about how they are and how they come across to people, that can help them be more self-aware so that they're not having a negative impact on people. And that just makes, you know, life be a better place. That makes the office be a better place, or, you know, whatever they're dealing with at home, they come into work, and it's like when they come into work, there's a space where it's like it's a sense of relief for them. And so then when they go back home, now they can better deal, like what you talk about, what you dealt with, you know, that time on the field. It's like they come to work and they got that capacity just to like let that go for a bit, and they go back home and it's like now they have more capacity to deal with that in a way, and they got to like, you know, blow up or shut down or anything like that. Because like you said, we all going through something. You don't know what a person is going through and how hard they got it, and some people are more comfortable with sharing. Some, you know, I was talking to my cousin about this. Some people, it's not that they aren't comfortable sharing, that's not the best coping mechanism for them. And so it's like, you know, at the bare minimum, I'm not adding on to someone's stress. Hopefully I am doing something that can offload and whatnot. So you and I always kind of clicked in that regard. So
yeah, I agree with that. You know, like I'm always the person to say, you know, there's no such thing as perfect mental health, right? That just don't exist,
right.
You know, so you know, it's people. You know, it's just living the best you can. You know what I'm saying, and just getting through every day. You know what I'm saying? Like that's what it really comes down to, man. Just getting through life, because like life is it's always gonna send you unexpected things. You know what I'm saying? You can't expect, you can't plan for everything, man. It's just sometimes you just gotta take it and it hit you on the chin. Just make you stronger.
Right.
You know.
Right. And with that, you know, that's where having, I think, a support system come in. It's like, you know what? Maybe you can't get up on your own from that, but that's where friends and family come in. We gonna help you get up. You know, it's like, you know, or we gonna keep you from having to take that hit on the chin. Or maybe you gonna get hit, but we gonna dampen it a little bit. We gonna sweat it down. Like, it ain't fully connected.
We gonna nurse you back to health.
Right. You know, it's like, you know, maybe I'm that one that has to hit you on the chin so you can act right. You know, it's like, hey, now sit down. We always make the joke about like, hey, sit down before I make you sit down. You know, sometimes you need those friends to be like, hey, have a seat. You do it too much. You like, true. I don't need to sit down. You know, Joe, he got the strong arms. So he's like, hey, sit down.
Like that poke, that chest poke. Hey.
Right. You know, it's like, I'm sit down. I'll be quiet because I want to. It's like, but you, like we always talk about, you need those friends to tell you, hey, I think you're wrong. You know, now I can tell you, I can show you. The choice is yours. You ain't finna win this fight.
A good friend will tell you when you doing something wrong. You know, but the key is having good friends around you that can recognize when you're doing something wrong.
Right.
Because you got friends that they want to see you do negative things and do bad things.
Right. And sometimes you gotta instill that in people. You don't know, like, so just a little funny story. I don't know if I'm keep this in, but we were out somewhere. Joe don't like being mean mugged by people, especially people that are like quarter his size. And I had to tell this dude, hey man, get your homeboy. I was like, my homeboy, he don't go for all that. You know, he cool people, but he don't like people trying to test him for just no reason, just cause he's a big dude. And I'm like, look, he twice my size. He way stronger than me. He way faster than me, despite what he looked. That's a big dude. I was like, I ain't catching the elbow trying to save your homeboy life. And he looked at him. It was up down. He's like, no, don't worry about it. If I got to jump my friend, I will jump him before he do anything. Cause I ain't trying to deal with that. Cause he knew his friend was doing too much. And so I was like, all right, cool.
He was on that oil. He was feeling himself.
Right. And I told him, like, I'm not trying to come at you any type of way or anything, be no tough guy. I was like, I ain't trying to get hit in the face for nobody. And he's like, I respect that. And he looked at you and he was like, yeah, nah, we not even gonna deal with that tonight. We all just want to have fun.
Right.
And so he checked his homeboy. Everybody was happy. Had a good night. So, but yeah. But all right, man. I appreciate you doing this, dog. Love you, man.
Love you too, bro.
Family dog. Family dog.
I already know, man. You fam too.
You know,
you already know, man.
All right. Well, thank y'all. So hope y'all enjoy this. You know, might see about getting you a mic Oh, he was just a rap about some memories,
Woo.
and
Yeah.
whatnot. But like I
Okay.
said,
I'll do that.
I like I said, you got everybody got different experiences, and for like I always reiterate this, there could be one little thing that somebody didn't think about, or maybe they're going through, and it's like, okay, this person went through something, and now I can see their decision making, and that can help me have some insight and to say, you know what, I do want to go this route, or no, definitely that I don't want to go, but it at least gives them something tangible to build off of. Because, like I said, everybody doesn't have the friends or family members to get advice from that has a experience with that. Sometimes people operate off their perceptions of things of like, I had people tell me, well, when you go to grad school, make sure you go for something that is related to what you got your degree. And it's like, what if I don't want to?
Right.
Like, what if that's not, what if I want to, I learn about what I want to learn about with undergrad, but then this is what I want to do career wise. And so that's why I'm getting my degree in it, whatever, whatever. And it's like, how you gonna tell me you never been to college?
Yeah.
Like
You
what?
gotta
So
create your own path, man.
right, and like you said, not be afraid to do that. Like there are gonna be bumps in the road. You might make some mistakes in terms of decision making. Recognize that hindsight bias literally is a bias. You can't know what you didn't know and make a decision about what you didn't know.
Right.
Like you know now, and it's like how can you, like you said, how can you make those pivots? How can you make those uh, go whatever direction from there to get to where you want to be happy in life? And at the
Yeah.
end of the day, if you are fulfilled and happy,
Right.
you good. That doesn't mean your life is going to be free of, you could be fulfilled and happy and have a very difficult life still,
100%.
and you still are fulfilled and happy, because there's some people that don't have that,
Yeah.
and it just, I think, keep that in mind. So, appreciate y'all watching this and, whatnot. Questions or anything, let me know. I can always circle back around and follow up with people, get some more insight from them. So again, just thank you for being part of this.